A lot of people are saying that this is really the movie that everybody needs right now in 2020 with the pandemic and what we're all going through.
One of the things that's really changed since we invented superheroes is that we know there's no bad guy.
You know, I know them, I know how to direct them so well. I mean, I wish it was 20 minutes longer because I'm a director, you know, but it would be 20 minutes of exactly the scenes you're seeing. Nothing would change, you know, it would just be more jokes or whatever.
What did you do?
Thank you guys so much for watching my movie Wonder Woman 1984. I was the guy that had his body stolen. As you can see, this is obviously me. Here, you might be confused, but when I do this, there you go. And I'm going to tell you right now, the fact that I was sexually assaulted by Wonder Woman is not as big of a deal as the fact that she gave me a sexually transmitted disease from the early 1900s. Doctors called it trench foot AIDS. Said they hadn't seen a case in 70 years. I can't even begin to tell you what I'm going through right now. To be used by Wonder Woman? I mean, they didn't even wash my sheets. The place stinks in here. It fucking stinks. It's a mess. I wake up by the side of a building. I'm being arrested for domestic terrorism for stealing a fighter jet. Which, by the way, why the hell was it fueled? I thought that place was supposed to be a museum. That doesn't make any sense. This whole thing sounds like a huge chunk of the movie relies heavily on the concept of completely fucking my life over and then debating if it should continue fucking my life over. Thought this whole movie was supposed to be about telling the truth. What about telling me the truth? Looks like you just glossed over that. Was I not good enough for the truth, Patty Jenkins? Seems like you didn't really learn shit to me.
No, Mother, I'm fine. I was just...
Training. Betrayed by my own sister?
No, Mother.
This whole body swap sex scene is hilarious because it accidentally became the most talked about scene in the movie. You know, Patty Jenkins was trying to blow our minds with Wonder Woman's final monologue, but no, it's the fact that you turned her into a sex offender. That's what people want answers for. I don't know all the answers, but I do know some. I know she was basically given full creative control on this movie, and she was heavily inspired by the beloved classic Heaven Can Wait. If you're unfamiliar with the movie Heaven Can Wait, you're not alone. I don't know shit about it either. All I can tell you is it has something to do with people coming back from the dead and taking over other people's bodies. So after a few bong rips, Patty Jenkins came up with this concept, and unfortunately she lost her battle with realizing that it was stupid as fuck. Recently, studio execs referred to Zack Snyder's Justice League as a cul-de-sac that leads nowhere. Say what you want about this man's films, he does at least have an idea that he's constantly expanding on. To refer to his universe as the cul-de-sac of films when it's literally the foundation for every single Justice League character makes no sense. If you want to watch the real cul-de-sac of films for the DC universe, you don't have to look any further than Wonder Woman 1984. This is a movie that has no idea where it came from and no idea where it's going. The cul-de-sac of films would actually be a compliment for this movie because it implies someone took a road to get here. This movie is more like a sinking raft in the Pacific Ocean hauling one sexy Israeli woman. To say this movie breaks DC Universe canon is an understatement. I think we've all been giving DC a little too much credit, guys. We started saying things online like we like all the crazy weird shit they're doing, which must have went to their heads. This resulted in a domino effect that led to Patty Jenkins telling everyone to stand back because she's got this one. Great, can't wait to see what she does with Star Wars next. WB gave this movie 1 second to breathe before declaring that a third was already well on the way. Kinda comes off like you're overcompensating and desperate. Funniest part about this movie is that it's so terribly dated immediately upon its release.
You use Wonder Woman to sort of talk about what's been going on in the world.
That was what I was so excited to do. Make a great superhero film, make it thrilling, make it exciting and action and all these things, but why not aim to do something deeper with it at the same time?
I'm not saying that this is their fault, but this entire movie was written and filmed directly before one of the largest events of recent times, a worldwide pandemic, and it's extremely obvious. Basically what happened is that DC thought it was a good idea to release an 80s movie that's actually current political commentary on the Donald Trump administration, only for them to have zero influence from Donald Trump's biggest national security risk of his presidency. It would be like making a George Bush movie and forgetting to include that part about 9/11. So it's just super ironic that they tried to make this movie that even Gal Gadot thought has never been more relevant, and it ended up just being an embarrassment and not relevant at all. Not to mention, what the hell was this movie trying to say about Donald Trump? Because it seems to me that Patty Jenkins was trying to say the quickest way to Donald Trump's heart is by threatening the lives of his children. What kind of message is that? All that build up for that? What the hell even happened to him? The movie just ends with them hugging in a field. That's not an ending.
Do the thing. Do the thing.
This is the way.
So yeah, the movie just ends with Donald Trump walking away and everyone in America is really, really confused, which I guess is a lot like real life, but I think they did that part on accident. I would watch Suicide Squad 100 times before I had to watch this garbage again, which is too bad because the second intro of this movie is so cringe that it was almost entertainment. This whole sequence breaks canon because in Batman vs Superman she said, 100 years ago, I walked away from humanity. But in this movie, she's arresting people outside of a JCPenney. But that doesn't bother me as much as the fact that the aesthetic is all over the place. There is no real commitment to their idea about this movie being in the 80s. This just looks like a generic building from GoldenEye. It's like their idea of an 80s movie was just as long as there are no cell phones and no mass surveillance, it'll feel like the 80s. Just put people in some funny clothes, and as long as they don't have cell phones in their hands, people believe this is the 80s. And then halfway through the movie, it completely stops being an 80s movie anyways. None of these shots look like they're from the 80s. This could be any time period. You could say this is 2002, 2017, 1996, September 11th, 2001, January 6th, 2021. It doesn't matter. The fact that this movie was in the 80s is just some boardroom concept they thought would be a good rival to Captain Marvel's 90s movie. But it was an idea that no one ever wanted to see through more than superficial crap like making a cool 80s logo that rips off Suicide Squad colors and putting Steve in some funny clothes. The mall scene makes a promise the rest of the movie cannot keep. It's not some funny, campy, old-fashioned 1980s superhero film. It's just a bloated mess. I don't even want to get into the Donald Trump references. It physically pains me to have to think about the concept of analyzing what they did here. Watch this fight in Wonder Woman. These are just some random soldiers. Now compare that to the final battle against Cheetah in Wonder Woman 1984. Real quick, I'm going to give you my top 5 favorite Wonder Woman moments. Number 1, when she walks into No Man's Land in the first one. Number 2, when she saves Batman's ass with this entrance. Number 3, when she throws a little girl into the big pillow. Number 4, when the armor that fought 300 lost to a cat. Number 5, when she couldn't lasso him, but then she lassoed him. Really just seems like everything from the story to the characters to the special effects was a huge step backwards for Wonder Woman 1984. 5 out of 10. Not unwatchable, just really stupid.